Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Word on the Ave. I'm your host, Corey Whitney Gilmore, with my co-host Lauren Jones. Uh, man, we back for another one. How y'all been doing? I know it's been a minute, been a couple weeks since we got it going, but here we are. Here we are, just in time for the new festivities that's going on in the media. Uh, so, so let's talk about it. Just had a
Yes.
situation over in there in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Do you want to talk to him real quick before we get started?
Oh nah, man. Let's jump right into it, man. You already know who it is in the building
Okay.
tonight, so let's get down to the dirty.
Yeah. Okay. So of course, situation over in Kenosha, Wisconsin, with uh, young Jacob Blake. I think he was forget his age. I think he was about 27. Correct me on whatever he was, whatever age he was, but young native, black male, was shot in the back. Had a police stop. News reported said he was over there breaking up a fight between two women or whatnot, and a video came out and he had an altercation with the police. Goes to his car, and police empty seven shots into his back. He's currently paralyzed right now, so he didn't die, but he's paralyzed and probably might be for the rest of his life. At least that's what the family said. So yeah, and you've had a lot of of course it's been a lot of backlash. You've had the NBA boycotting, NBA boycotting. You've had the protests, the riots up there in Kenosha, Wisconsin. You had a situation after that with some, a shooting that took place during the riots, which we'll address a little later into it. But let's start with the situation at hand to begin with. So, what do you think? What do you think about this whole situation with Jacob Blake? And yeah, what's your take, man? Talk to me.
Uh, man, before I get started, I did forget to say, man, condolences to the Bozeman family. You know what I'm saying? I know it's a rough weekend for them. Is we lost another one. But this one is. I'm not gonna say it's as tricky as all the other ones that we keep talking about. I think this particular one has a lot of nuance because we don't really know this, the 100% truth about why the cops were called out to the house. Like, I mean, we know allegedly that it was a lady that called the cops on him. There's hearsay that there's a order of protection. He wasn't allowed on the property. Uh, so there's a lot of that. Obviously we had the resisting of arrest, when the cops did try to detain him for whatever reason that they felt like they needed to detain him. He did resist. He was tased. The taser wasn't effective. I'll just say that the taser wasn't effective, so he was able to get to his car. Uh, you know, I never excuse. I can't excuse them putting 7 shots in his back. I mean, it seems as if they were trying to do the right thing by shooting him in a place that may not kill him. But 7 shots did seem a bit excessive. I'm not even sure I can understand why you needed 5 cops out there. Why it took 5 officers to unsuccessfully detain one human being is beyond me. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the de-escalation process prior to the resist of arrest. I don't know anything about the de-escalation process. Now they did take the necessary steps. I will say that they didn't immediately fire. They did try to detain. They did try to tase before they fired 7 shots in his back.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it wasn't like they just bang bang. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they went through those steps to try to make it a justified arrest before they shot him. So from that standpoint, people can't say that they just jumped the gun and just shot him, because that didn't happen. Uh, there was a process to it. Uh, I guess it just it's gonna be one of those things where I think more information is needed. So as more details come out, I think it kind of helps clear up the picture, because the before is what nobody was not is what isn't 100% clear. The before is what isn't clear, and so it's really hard to say, uh, definitively one way or another. It is challenging to do that, but I think we do see that they did try to do it the regular way, and then just were unsuccessful. And so, when he
Yeah.
ran to his car to reach, they didn't know if he was, reaching to try to drive off, or he was reaching for a piece. There is another story out there regarding Jacob Blake about a disturbance of peace at the bar. So it was known that he did carry a weapon. Uh, so I don't know if they had that to go off of or not. I'm not sure the story out there. The only the one of the things that not a lot of people are talking about uh, is the kids in the car. I don't hear a lot of people really talking about that. We're very, very focused on the 7 shots in the back, which
Mm-hmm.
we should be. But from the perspective of there were kids in the car, could anything else have been done? I don't know. I truly don't know if anything else could be done about the situation as it relates to de-escalation at that point.
Yeah.
Under the law, the cops are allowed to take it up another level based off of what they're dealing with. So if you're resisting arrest, they're allowed to go another tier up to try to detain you. So if you pull out a gun, by the law, they are able to shoot you, and be protected behind that. Uh, and I know that may not seem like that's the way things should be. Uh, and if we truly feel like that as a collective, then it is our duty as citizens, as taxpaying citizens, to vote in the right representation and get those laws changed, or do what you have to do to take matters into your own hands to begin to get those laws changed. If we truly feel as a collective citizen that that's not how we need to handle the situation, then it's up to us to do the pushing to get those laws changed.
Yeah.
So we can't. I'm not saying you can't blame the police in this situation, because you absolutely can. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But what I will say is that people need to understand their power and things that can be done to make it to whatever you want the desired outcome to be in a situation like this.
Yeah. Understanding how to fight these type of things. Can you hear me all right?
Hmm.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm testing this new. Got a new microphone, so I'm making sure it sounds right. So y'all let me know in the comments or anything if I sound all right or the audio needs adjustments. But yeah, yeah, that's what it is. So I think so. Do you think this is a racial incident? Do you think this is something where a black man is being hunted down as what you hear repeated often throughout the media? Situations like this. You think this is a black man being hunted down? Is this something? Is this something that the everyday
Uh,
black man should be worried about? Could they have been Jacob Blake?
Uh, wow, that's an interesting question. Knowing what I think I know, or
Just going off of the
albeit
information we got. So let's
based off of what was reported.
what
Uh,
you want to go
no,
through it? That so he so what we know is his girlfriend, right? His girlfriend called the police. What they reported, what they said, and what they haven't really reiterated on was the fact that that whole fight situation, the whole what they were saying, he was breaking up a fight. That's not what happened. His woman called the police because he had her keys. This is what was reported from the 911 call and everything. He had her keys. He and he refused to give them back. Also, from what it sounds like there was some type of restraining order or something. So, because they said he wasn't supposed to be over there in that area, so some type of restraining order. Uh, and so when you
this is why body cam is so crucial.
Yeah,
it's because you have to look at this one or two ways. Body cam footage would have at least given the police or Jacob Blake, it would have told a story once they arrived. And what happened before, we don't know. But when the police arrived, hey, we're here because we received a call of a disturbance, this, that, and the third. The body cam would have allowed for that part of the detail of the story to really be clear. This is also a situation, I believe personally, where, as we begin to talk about, defunding the police or reforming the department, this is a classic case of a police probably doesn't need to be there. They may need to be called after the fact, but they may not need to be there in the initial interaction with somebody that's trying to intervene. This may have been a perfect situation for somebody like a counselor or something like that to come in and try to diffuse the situation using the proper language, and then if they're unable
social worker, like they said.
Worker, yeah. I do believe that this would be one of those cases where, maybe they would use a certain language that wouldn't escalate, but would de-escalate the situation. Because sometimes it's silent language as far as, whether somebody feels threatened or anything like that. So I think this is one of those cases where you probably could err to that maybe being a possible way of dealing with this one, because it doesn't sound like there was any physical abuse or anything like that. It just sounded like maybe he was being a dick and would give her keys back.
Yeah.
Because he was upset about something.
Okay. Okay, I see that. Yeah, I was trying to because I was thinking about what you said. I was trying to process the whole social worker and where they would fit in, because we're talking about when you're talking about a situation where it's, things get physical and things like that. And like I said, that can vary. Can you hear me all right? It says the connections are stable, but those situations can vary within itself. So I'm making sure, even when you presenting it and you sit up there and you want to fight to the law, whether it's, you take it to a town meeting or something like that, you covering all bases and making sure, because there's a lot of people that may be like, hey, we need the police there, what I'm saying, women that getting beat on or different things like that. But you're saying before, it's a situation where there's nothing physical. So yeah, social workers should be able to be called to the area, be able to cool everything down. So yeah, okay.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't know if there was any. It doesn't seem to be any physical altercation at that time outside of maybe, she trying to reach for her keys and he may be holding her back with his arm or something like that. But she didn't allege that. All she said was that they got into an argument and he was unwilling to give me my keys back. Um, you know, I don't know. Maybe she should have had a spare and just let him take them.
Yeah.
uh, but as far as it, could this have been any black dude? Uh, no, I don't think that. I don't think that by any stretch of the imagination. Now, if you're talking about once the police get called, could this be any black dude? Maybe. I will say that.
So you're talking about from the time that the police showed up to the shooting, that could have been any black dude right there.
That could have been, because what if it was, you know, what if it was just a dude that didn't have no record at all, you know, uh, but he was just agitated in the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe we were just agitated in the moment because we do have to accept reality that at the current moment they have weaponized our skin color against us as black men. They have weaponized it against us. Now, that doesn't that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be educated and understand how the laws protect us. But I think the mentality, they have weaponized our skin color against us, and
But that's a but
you and I had this.
wouldn't that be
Go ahead.
subjective though? Because you can't automatically assume that would vary from officer to officer, right? There can
Yes,
now
but
whether it's in a majority or minority,
I think
nobody has the exact answer.
nobody has
Nobody
enough.
has the
Right.
exact answer to that. It's out there. We have enough, you know what I'm saying? We have enough of, I guess, of a roadmap or something, enough evidence to where we can say that, yeah, there are a bunch of racist cops.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know,
Yeah, it's subjective. I will say it is subjective. But I think that we would be fooling ourselves if we didn't say that there has been a embedded mentality within the police force. Over the course of the existence of law enforcement, because the law wasn't necessarily created to protect people of color. It's evolved over time, but I don't think that when it was created, when law enforcement was created, it wasn't necessarily created, thinking of black people. We were there, we were in existence, but I don't think it was created with that intent. Uh, you know, Protect and serve is always a tricky phrase, you know, because that is subjective. They could easily say, hey, we were protecting the young lady that called us out. We were serving the citizen that called us out to this altercation. They could very easily use that, and you use that, and then with the right judge, he may be like, yep, you're right. We ain't got nothing else to talk about here. There's nothing else to talk about. You did go out and do your job, and there was an altercation. It wasn't like you arrested him and he willingly got in a police car. He willingly allowed himself to be cuffed and things of that nature. And who knows? I'd be interested to know what was going through his mind that was related to the kids that was in the doggone car. What happens to his kids if he goes to jail? Are those her kids? Or are those somebody else's kids? Was there a phone call to be allowed to say, hey, somebody need to come pick up these kids because I'm getting ready to go to jail? Like, there's different things, different nuances that I think, most people don't even think about. But I do feel like those things were probably relevant in his mind, you know. Of course, every criminal is an angel, when they die.
yeah, yeah,
Every papa was a Rolling Stone, was a good man at the funeral. You know what I'm saying? So it's bad karma to speak ill will on the deceased. But you know I
ill
think it
will
can.
ill will or or constructive criticism. Because it's one thing to be just be talking shit, and it's I think it's just it's bad to even speak on anybody. You know what I'm saying? Whether they're
Yeah,
alive or
it's
dead in bad taste.
sure,
If there's
sure.
nothing that's being taught, if you're just sitting up there and trying to put down the person and things like that, like but there's got to be something that can be learned from the
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, I mean, in no form of fashion is he clean. In no form of feel like. I mean, I don't understand the situation, but why couldn't she have her keys back? Like that's what I want to know. Like, why did you take her keys and were unwilling to give them back? Like, what was that about? What led to
Yeah.
that? Was she intoxicated or was she high? You know, uh, I don't know. Like, I think we have to ask. Uh, I think more questions have to be asked about what even led to the police being called out in the first place. To really understand the details. I don't know Jacob Blake. You know, I don't know him from the next guy. So to say that he was 100% at fault, I don't think it's fair to say either because we just don't have enough information. I mean, Corey, you and I and Brandy have had this discussion on the other show that know if they call the cops, something's gonna happen because the female is protected.
No,
You know,
it's
so
it's it's yeah, yeah, yeah. Something could potentially.
so
There's
so
always that potential
yeah.
for
So how
something
do
to happen.
yeah? So how do we know that she just wasn't calling the cops? You know what I'm saying? Because girl cry wolf. You know what I'm saying? And they came out. Those are details that we don't know. Will we ever know? Nah. I mean, at this point, you got a whole different type of media storm now where, another black man's being murdered at the hand of a police officer, and just as well as I do, anything done, you know, behind somebody's back, whether, what I'm saying, whether you talking behind somebody's back, whether you shoot somebody in the back, there's a whole nother connotation to that. There's a whole nother connotation to that. I don't even like people slapping me on my back. I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? You know, even an attaboy, I'm like, hey man, shoot, man, dap me up. Give me an elbow. So I think that heightens things. I think it harkens people back to was it Michael Brown that got shot in his back running? Which one? Is that the one? Was it Michael Brown?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Was it Michael Brown that got shot in the back?
Yeah. So was it Mike Brown? Did he get shot in the back? I know he. I know they.
I,
It was two different
I think
stories.
so.
Nobody had to really. Matter of fact, no. I say it like this. No, allegedly somebody in St. Louis had the video, but the cops confiscated it. So you had the cop story of he was fighting for the gun, and then you had a story. You even had some from some of the bystanders, but then you had other bystanders saying he got on the ground and had his hands up. So we really
Mm-hmm.
don't we really don't know the
Yeah,
outcome to
yeah. There
that.
always there always seems to be a heightened response when something is done from behind. There always seems to be a heightened response to that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my point there.
I'm
But
just
yeah, it's
I'm
unfortunate, man. I mean, obviously he didn't die. What do you struggle with? You're struggling with something. What part of this do you struggle with from the perspective of us crying about being shot by a cop?
what? Well, you talking about me?
Yeah.
Oh no, my problem is with the media portrayal. My problem is with the media portrayal. It's once again them being completely irresponsible, trying to incite a race war, not giving all of the details, automatically jumping into it to being a hey, we're being hunted down as black people when that's not the case. Um, like I said, and you got people out here, and then the people in the people who are receiving the information, people on the internet and shit like that. They're fanning the flames, and they'll go ahead and they'll be showing all these videos of, a white cop, a white cop and a white guy, and they didn't get shot, and see, this shows you right here, this and that, and you got plenty examples of white men being unjustly shot. Now, can I say it happens at the same rate as a black man? If I was to put my bet on it, I'd say no. I'd say no. But like I said, we can't speak and we can't make assertions. We can't speak out absolutes, and we got to deal with the evidence that we have. Right. Let's look at so like I said, he's there already. Right. He's there already. He has he has somebody's property. So he's being investigated for a crime or whatnot, or however it goes in the law book. See, these are different things that got to be, you got to go to that state's law book, and see what the proper time, when can a cop identify you and say, hey, I need your ID, because there may be certain times to where, hey, they don't have the jurisdiction to do that. You know what I'm saying? Such as the case in HEB in McAllen, Texas, right? Where they asked for the ID, but he hadn't committed a crime. The situation got worked out right there, and the dude agreed to go his separate way based off the outcome of the situation, the scenario that the cop gave. But then they asked for an ID within that moment. That was completely against the law, right? But in this case, you're talking about, somebody got the police called on them and different things like that. So now you got to look and see, hey, the police called, they got property. Now you got to see, are the cops in jurisdiction? Is it in the law for them? Could they lawfully ask for his ID? Those are the first things, right? So whatever, now there's whatever type of interaction and different things like that. And we don't know how that interaction went. We just know that there was a tussling match. The cop, they're tussling on the ground. They deployed their taser. They went through the process of, basically escalating the situation. They went through all the escalation. So they didn't just flat out come, and they wasn't coming there to kill nobody or nothing like that. Now, do I believe they did a horrible job in subduing him? Hell yes, they did a horrible job in subduing him. But the job that you do and doing something unlawful are two different things, right? So he gets up off the ground. He's able to escape that. Now, as you see, he's walking around to the car. He's walking around butt puffed up like he's damn like Popeye the damn sailor man. Popeye pops open his can of spinach and shit and gets all buffed up, and he start nigga was walking around to the car like that, right? And so he's walking around to the car. If you're watching the cops, they're following him slowly. So I don't even think they're not even. I don't even think they're aware, and they're not even thinking of the possibility of him reaching his car. You know why? Because if you take a look at that video, if you look close at the video, you'll see that as soon as he grabs for the door handle, because they're telling him to stop and they have the guns drawn. As soon as as soon as they see him reaching for the door handle, you see them jump forward like, oh shit. It's like a oh shit moment. Like, oh damn, like we didn't let him get too far. And so they like, stop. And they grab him, and then the dude's going in the car and pop. So everything up to that moment, it was he was on some bullshit. They had the right to draw their guns and different things like that. Now, do I think they should have put 7 bullets in them? No, I personally don't believe. I don't agree with that. I think they could have done something different. But like I said, it's easy to talk from the sidelines, because when you in that moment, when you shooting to kill, you shooting to kill. That's what cops are. it's in their training, shoot to kill. If you want that changed, you have to address the training. You have to address the training, even then, because you're talking about a high stress moment, right? And so, he pop, 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 you know what I'm saying, and hit him 7 times, man. That whole part right there, up to the shooting, that's where you got to start leaving it. Now you got to go to the law book again in Wisconsin. See, this is how you address it. You don't just go out to the street and we need to hold the cops accountable, and the basketball players, football players. We're not gonna play until they get arrested, because let me give you an example based on the sport that they play, right? Imagine them, they know the rules to the NBA, right? They know the rules and different shit like that, but an outcome comes within a call. So an outcome happens that they don't personally like, right? So they saying, oh, this is bullshit. There's been all type of different rules. In the NFL for years, they had it to where you couldn't review plays. And that's the way that it was. We're not going back. That's the way that it was. Do you think after the game, with a situation like that, do you think that they can go back and say, hey, we want to restart the game? We want to restart the game. We want to play back. Now it's different.
Houston tried that. Huh? The Rockets tried that.
Yeah, they've tried that. There's actually been teams, I think they've had situations like that where it's been available, where that's been available to the player. I think there was something like that where they resumed play from somewhere. I maybe remember. I think it was like a Washington Wizards game, but I might have that wrong. But it's different. But it's different when you talking. Yeah, right, right. But see, you see that right there. That's because the referees and the way that it was officiated wasn't done within the rule book. Wasn't done within the rule book. So the officials were out of pocket. So now they have to rectify. They have to make that right, right? But you're not going to go back with something that's already on the rule book and everybody agrees. So we know this is the game that we playing, and we're going to go back and say, oh, no, it shouldn't be 6 fouls. You should at least let us have 7 fouls. No, we demand we're not playing unless we get that. You can't do that. You can't do that. And that's essentially what people are asking for. And that sets a horrible precedent. I don't care. A lot of people may hear this and they may get mad, but people who get mad are people who don't use their fucking brain. They're not hearing what I'm saying. It sets a bad precedent. You have to change the law. That's why with the Breonna Taylor situation, they keep saying arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. You cannot arrest those cops. You can't arrest them because what they did was lawful. Was lawful in their city. See, a lot of people don't even know the law. They did what they were available to do under their jurisdiction over there in Louisville, Kentucky. That's why afterwards they brought in those no knock warrants. They brought in the laws that say that they ban no knock warrants. So that's to protect everybody in the future and prevent it from ever happening again. But you can't go back and now say they should be arrested, because what are they being arrested for? What law did they break, right? You know what I'm saying? This is why, but see, you can't get this stuff changed if, in the meantime, you focused on other things, other distractions. Everybody's distracted. Are we going to show up to these town halls? And even within arguing these cases, you have to make sense, because a lot of people believe that you have people now saying that there should be no lethal force. So where is the line drawn? Because at some point, I'm pretty sure 99% of people will want lethal force when you have an active shooter, right? When you have an active shooter and your life is in danger or something, they're gonna want somebody to eliminate the threat. So where does the line get drawn? Where does the line get drawn? Now, when you're talking about police, are police supposed to just, you know, where's the line get drawn with them? Now in Minnesota, I'm telling people this because I'm telling them they have to make a case for this when talking about this. It can't be built within emotions and different shit like that. You have to make a strong case that the people, the town can agree with. When you talking about when you talking about like in Minnesota, the cops can do it at any moment. I mean, not the cops is basically in the law book that whenever they feel threatened or whatnot, they feel like their life is in danger and it can put their person in harm's way, then they have the law. It's within their lawful right to execute deadly force. Now, what comes into play, and I haven't even looked at the what do you call it? The laws on the cameras, on police cameras. So we don't even know if they're able to. So I don't even know if that comes into play and what'll be seen on there. But those things like that.
That's sunshine law is what that is.
What?
That's when certain cities decide that they don't want to uh, carry body cams, it's because the sunshine laws are designed a certain way to where if the cameras pick up something different, like let's say that the police come out to the house and then next door there's a domestic disturbance that's picked up on that body cam, then any citizen that know that the cops had come out and that could possibly have been picked up can request that footage and press charges.
Say it one more time. Say it one more time.
So let's say I call the cops out to my house, right? And my next door neighbor and his old lady are having a domestic dispute and it's caught on that camera.
Yeah.
Then my neighbor down the street that found out that there was a domestic disturbance at my neighbor's house can actually request that video footage.
Okay.
And then they could press charges on whoever they felt like, was in the wrong. So it's tricky. And the only reason I learned that is because the police in Raymore don't carry body cams for that exact footage. And it's referenced that sunshine law.
But wouldn't the sunshine law still be something that's exclusive to each state, right?
Yeah, that's what it's actually exclusive to each city. Like each city's police force can make that designation on whether or not the sunshine laws allow or disallow them to wear body cams. It's not a state, it's city.
Yeah. Okay. So that's even digging even deeper. That's even digging even deeper. And so, I got to look at the Wisconsin. I got to look at the Kenosha laws up there to see what their body cam laws are, if they even have that, if there is even body cam footage, because that'll be able to show a lot, like what was the officer looking at, because we're sitting up there making all of these assertions and we don't know what the hell the officer saw, how, I'm talking about his optics, you know what I'm saying? Because when you sit up there, your officer, and you've got the license to kill, you've been given the license in the jurisdiction that you can make a decision on when to kill when you feel like your life is in danger. And he's sitting up there, you don't know when, you don't know what you're seeing, because all we're seeing is an angle that's way across the street and it's behind the door, so we don't know if he's reaching for something. We don't know if. And then when you're talking about when he feels his life is in danger, we don't know what they're gonna let. We don't know what that law up there in Kenosha, Wisconsin, what that's gonna let them get away with. Is it the point to where, hey, we gave the orders and now he's going into his car and we're not gonna even allow him? We're not even going to allow him to, get the chance to, because once a person ups his joint, hey, he's got the drop on you, right? That's a split second type of thing, and you don't want to do something. He starts doing that. Think about it like this, Lauren. You still there?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, they can't see you on the thing, but think about it like this. Let's say he gets to the car. We're examining all scenarios, trying to make sense of this. Say he gets to the car, ups it, and now the police all of a sudden they got to start shooting. They got to start shooting everywhere, right? Because he doesn't grab them, they don't go and they grab them. They still following them in the same manner. Well, there's kids in the car now. There's kids in the car, so now it gets even trickier because it's like, well, you're in that direction. Now you got to start shooting. If he hadn't grabbed him, he probably wouldn't have even been able to pull himself to a position to where he could grab him from or deter him from getting to wherever he was trying to get to, whether it was in the seat of his car or maybe I don't think they said they recovered a pistol or anything. But like I said, we're talking about for even future situations and what that does with the officer, because what those different laws try to deter. We're talking about what you bring up when you're trying to argue these different things and making sense of this shit, right? So, you start shooting in that direction, and let's say the kids get hit, right? So, those are things that we got to think about. But, once all of this stuff has taken place, the fact that you have guys sitting up there talking about, like you said, LeBron James coming out talking about, I feel like a black man, I'm scared to leave the house. When you're talking about something like that, you bring up the situation like you've heard what Stephen A. Smith talked about. When Stephen A. Smith talks about, him just driving over, he's up there in New York City, he drives across the bridge or whatnot, gets pulled over by the officer, and the officers being aggressive with him. Like he's following all the commands, and the officers being aggressive and puts his hand on his gun automatically, right? Those things right there, those are horror stories. Those are the different horror stories that you talk about, as a black man, or it could be anybody, but we know that the history of being black and for our skin color, and because we know there's a lot of racists that are within the police force. So those are things you fear for. But just hey, I'm being hunted down, and trying to liken that to this situation. I think we talked about this the other day, and I'll tell the people on live. Y'all know the Pop Smoke situation, where Pop Smoke got killed, where they just arrested killers a month ago. The killers had a list. They were a burglary ring, and so Pop Smoke just happened to be in there when they were burglarizing his house. Comes to find out, they had a list. These are black men, and who they had that they were planning on getting on the list. LeBron James was on that list. LeBron James was on that list. And so, it's what I'm bringing that up for is, we turning it into a racial thing, and there's all type of different factors, and factors that could more likely happen that we all know, because we all know LeBron James ain't going back to the hood. Who all get money and moving back to the hood? You know what I'm saying? You there?
I'm still here.
Yeah. Now, who's all getting money and moving, and moving back to the hood? So
Red man.
You said red man.
Nobody.
Ain't nobody
He never
doing
left.
that
He
shit.
never left.
Because they know the reality. They know the reality, man. The niggas are starving, man. So we gotta be realistic. We just quick to jump to race, and create a narrative every single time. You know what I'm saying? That's and then, like I said, the media is gonna play upon all of that shit, because they can work all type of different things. They can work a political they can work a political angle into there and start, when you start talking about rights and different things like that, which is now, now you had the protest or whatnot. And now, you saw the boy, what's his name? The was it Riddington or something like that? The one that shot the protesters. And so, what they're saying is he came from out of state, right? He came from out of state. He came there to defend the business. Just giving you showing you how to deal and how you got to soak in these situations. So you got to look at this from both sides. As a black man, because I heard a lot of people said, "Oh, it's wrong because he has no right to come from out of state and come defend the business." I mean, he has no right to come from out of state and come defend the business, whether it was his or not, and different things like that. He came there to shoot. Well, as the black man, would you want another black man if you had something going down? You know what I'm saying? Regardless of the law, we just talking about your personal preference. Wouldn't you want somebody to come and be able to come help you? Some allies or something, if something goes down, especially when it comes to your right. Now, what we saw on the video.
If I recall right though, wasn't this dude like 14?
He was 17.
17. Okay. 17. I just asked.
Yeah, he was 17. And so what when you talking about what was I about to say? Yeah, so what he was doing, the video that was shown, he's getting jumped, right? He's getting the shit beat out of him. He's on the ground. You could have popped them motherfuckers from the time he was up. Shit, I probably would have popped you motherfuckers from the time I was up. You wouldn't even got the chance to get me on the fucking ground. But this young dude, especially me at 17, oh yeah, y'all would have got aired the fuck out. Oh, y'all would have got. I just thought about that. At 17, y'all would have got aired the fuck out. Y'all thought y'all was gonna jump me, right? But so he's on the ground and he shoots them all or whatnot, and but we wondering why that even happened. A lot of people asked, a lot of people saying, well, they shouldn't have been jumping. You had another side that's asking, well, what were they chasing them after? Comes to find out, he had shot somebody. He actually shot somebody in the head. No, none of the victims that he shot were black. They were all white people. But yeah, he shot somebody in the head. Now, so people are starting to use that as, well, there you go. He's a murderer, and they all had a right. Do we know what reason that even took place? Because he's there, like I said. I'm all for a person. I'm serious when it comes to things like a person's personal property, their personal rights, different things that can ensure their liberty. You know what I'm saying? And different things like that, whether white, black, red, whatever the fuck you are, whatever you classified are. I want you to have that. And I want their people. I'm all for a motherfucker traveling state lines, whether it's lawful or not. It may be unlawful. You got to check those states. You got to look in your books. But me personally, I'm all for that because, hell, if I wasn't around or something or whatever, I may sit back and like, man, I don't even want to get into this fight. But hey, I see somebody, hey Lauren, you see somebody at your business, you like, man, I don't even feel like dealing with the mob. But you see somebody at your business and they about to break in and you got a motherfucker in front of it like, nah, I'm not gonna let you harm this black man's business or whatnot. And some shit goes down and they gotta pop one of them niggas. You know what I'm saying? All them riots and shit like that. You tearing up that shit destroys y'all. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to put somebody out of business, all that stuff that does not hurt the government, that feeds into what they want. Marxism, social Marxism. You have to have a society of needy people. Y'all have to look into it. When Patrice Cullors, the founder of BLM, say that, y'all need to look into what Marxism is. White people, when y'all are repeating that shit, Y'all need to let it be known what it is. Y'all need to educate the people around you and quit just yelling out the name Marxism. Marxism is all dependent. It's a form of communism, and it's all dependent on a needy society needing the government to sustain them. The government having control of their funds, taxation, everything. So it puts a cap on what they can do. All right, bro. Yeah, Lauren's about to fall off, but yeah, it puts a cap on everything that they can do. So, man, these are different things that you got to think about. We got to use common sense, but uh, man, hopefully the brother Jacob Blake, man, hopefully he gets better. Hopefully he gets better, yeah, man. It's a completely unfortunate situation. Um, I wish him a speedy recovery, but man, we got to be smarter. We got to be smarter. We got to look, we got to start using data. We got to use our brains. A lot of times, man, we know what goes on, bro. We know what goes on in the hood. A lot of times, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times, shit, motherfuckers just don't want to, they gonna go against the grain. They gonna rebel regardless. So, trying to fit that in, versus being targeted, we don't know where it ends and where it begins. We don't know we don't know where it ends and where it begins and what is what. So these are different things we just gotta, we gotta make sure we doing the right thing in the first place, and we got to also change the laws if we don't want to if we want to take power out of the police's hands or limit the power. We got to start changing the law, which means we got to be at those we got to be at the city hall meetings. We got to be at everything. I mean, you can't take no days off, but that's the problem. A lot of people get sidetracked, and everybody's trying to work, and then we want to find our leisure time, and then in the meantime, when some bullshit happens, we mad, and we can't get no change. That's because we're not fighting the law. Um, so, man, let's come together. Let's have these conversations. Let's be real with ourselves, understand what's going on, and let's talk with your family members, your friends. Let's find different ways we can have these conversations and bring it to your city hall. Then, if it doesn't get addressed within that manner, then that's when you start having revolts. When it doesn't get addressed initially, when you've had, when you keep bringing it to the city leaders, the state leaders, and different things like that, and then they don't want to hear your cries, you know what I'm saying? Then that's when revolts and different things like that. But until then, if you're not you're not having conversations with the people, the public and different things like that, because you're the real government. You're the real government, you know what I'm saying? You, the citizen, you're the real government. So if you're not talking amongst each other and making sure you can come to a reasonable agreement on everything, and not just trying to turn everything into, turn something in your favor, or something that you can take advantage of so you can do whatever the fuck you want. A lot of people aren't going to agree with that. It's got to be some reasonable shit. And then you take that to your state leaders, your city leaders, because like I said, they serve you. They serve y'all as the people, and y'all decide on uh, how your city will move, not them. But you got to take back that power. So, that's what it is. So, let me know what y'all think in the comment section, man. We about to get up out of here. Lauren had to fall off. Randy wasn't able to make it today, but yeah, let me know what y'all think, and let's continue to think about this. Let's be proactive versus reactive. Because every time we reactive, there's not much you can do. It'll be too late, and we'll be asking for arrest and different things like that, and it'll never come because, like I said, it was within the jurisdiction. Got to be proactive. Let's make those changes now and make prevent it from ever happening. Uh, but other than that, I'm Corey Gilmore. It's another word on the half show. Tune in next time, and we'll have some more shit for you. Probably this week. We gonna keep it moving. Other than that, peace, y'all.